Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik Tadrishyam Druktumanasam Drishyadhivrtaya Sakshi Drugeva Natu Drishyate. So this is the text called Drig Drishya Viveka. Drig is the seer. Seer. In Sanskrit, seeing and knowing are taken as same. Therefore, seer means the one who knows, the knower. They are taken the same. For example, a rishi is called a seer. You must have heard seer. That doesn't mean he will be looking up and down. He knows. Okay? So seer is same as the knower. Seeing is same as knowing. Not only that, seeing is something more than knowing. Okay? Somebody tells you something and you believe that you have known it. You have not known anything. You have to see it to know it, right? So, like you put, this is Shankara's illustration, like hasta malakavat. You put a fruit in your palm and you are looking at it. It is like that. Seeing. Shri Krishna also says in Gita quite a few times, Yo yaf pashyati sapashyati. He says, he doesn't say yo janati sa janati. He doesn't say that. The one who knows. Knowing is what? Who doesn't know Atma or Brahma here? You tell me. Who doesn't know? Everybody knows. Maybe except myself. So, everybody knows. That is not knowing. So, seeing carries a punch, a strength in it, which knowing doesn't have. Everybody knows. Do you know Vaikuntha or not? You must all be knowing Vaikuntha, right? Yeah, like that. Like that. Like that, okay? So, therefore, seeing is something different. Okay? So, that's why Drig, the focus is on Drig, the one who sees, the seer. Or even you can say, the seeing element in you. The knowing, seeing or knowing, I will be using them the way it comes, but you know the distinction clearly. You go by the context. Okay? So, there is a knowing element in you. And you want to make it into a person, that knowing element, you want to make it into a person, you put ER. You need not make it into a person. It is not necessary. Okay? So, we are going to examine, the person is not real. The impersonal knowingness is real. The person is not real. Therefore, though we say seer, we do not really mean the person who sees. What we mean is the seeing element or the knowing element, which is the impersonal awareness. The word awareness I have introduced already. So that is the Drig. And Drishya is the seen. Obviously, the object. Object. Need not be a physical object. It need not be a physical object. Suppose in mathematics they teach binomial theorem and you know it or you understand it. So now the binomial theorem becomes the object. So all the sciences like physics, chemistry, etc., they are all objects of your knowledge. Therefore they come under the seen. Need not be a physical object. Of course physical object also, like pot, etc., table, they are all the seen. Generally people assume the seen is the physical object only, mostly. No, it is not just physical object alone. It is a lot more than that. All the people are the seen. The people around you are the seen. My family members, you may say, they all come under the category of seen as much as the table and chair are. You have to understand that, okay? All are lumped together into the same category. All your ideas of the world come under the category of seen. And all your ideas of God, religion, culture, music, this, that, India, America, all these ideas that you have, you cultivate, and sometimes you put it into some propaganda. Okay, you popularize some of these ideas. They are called ideologues. So these ideologues, they take up one idea, and their job is to popularize it, to convert as many people as possible into that idea. That is how they function. And those ideas, they all come under the category of seen. Shall I tell you one secret? Except you, everything else is the seen. Suppose God descends from Vaikuntha and stands before you. The poor God now becomes the seen. Right? So this is the Drig Drishya Viveka. This is a very big thing it is. It starts like a wave and then grows into an ocean, if you allow it to grow. But suppose you block it, no, it cannot grow, then it won't grow. Okay? Again, it depends upon you. You allow it, it becomes an ocean. Drig Drishya Viveka is a very big thing. That's why I have delayed and avoided and postponed. Then came a request. Then I thought, chalo, let me not postpone it anymore. Because after a time I may not be able to postpone it also. Therefore, so we are into it now. And it will be there with us for some time to come. So you are the Drig and everything else is Drishya. You see, this vichara of Drig and Drishya is of utmost importance for the understanding of higher philosophy of Vedanta. That's why people avoid it. Anything higher they avoid. So they come to Vedanta and they start with Karana Karyavada. That is where they begin and that is where they end. Therefore, now they pick up a concept after studying Vedanta for a decade or two. What all they have is a concept of God, the cause of the universe. Who doesn't know it? Everybody in the world says it, except a few select guys like Swabhavavadi, etc. They do not admit any cause. Separate. The cause is also intrinsic to the world. Darwinism and all those things. So except such a few guys, everybody accepts an external cause, External or intrinsic, whatever. So there is a cause, people call it God easily. You may want to call it Brahma, that doesn't make it any different, still the same. It's only a name, and Jagat is the cause. No, we know a lot more than that. Yeah, I understand what you know. Cause not only material cause, not only efficient cause, but also material cause. That is what you know. Right? So with that your Vedanta has come to an end. I'm sorry to say that is not the end, that is only the beginning. Okay? If you can come to Drig Drishya Viveka, then you are talking something. Because this Karana Karyavada, I am comparing and contrasting Drig Drishya Viveka versus Karana Karya Vada. Sometimes they call it Prakriya, the model. So I am comparing. In comparing so, the glory of Drig Drishya Viveka comes to the fore. So in Karana Karya Vada, everybody subscribes to it. All the classical Dvaitins, dualists, classical, like Sankhyas, Nayayikas, Vaisheshikas, and come to West Aristotelians, all of them, all the disciples of Aristotle, Ptolemy and others, and many other Western philosophers, including Bishop Berkeley, Haeckel, etc., etc., all of them subscribe to this Karana-Karyavada. There is a cause. And the Jagat is only, the world is only an effect. It is not independent, it is not self-sufficient, it has a cause. So all of them admit to that cause-effect relationship. And therefore, when you talk of cause and effect, and all these people, all these philosophers, for them both cause and effect are real. That is the Dvaita. And in Vedanta also, when you are talking of God or Brahman as the cause of the Jagat, etc., so the language somehow betrays a sense of duality, because you present the Jagat as the effect of the God. God being the upadana, the material and all that. Even when you say God, manifestation. So the Jagat is the manifestation of God. So how does it sound? Does it not sound as something real? It does. And if it sounds as something real, how can it be Advaita? It cannot be non-duality. Therefore, this Karana-Karyavada have some issues there. They are the language of dualists. The Karana and Karya, the words are the language of the dualists, the classical dualists. Then come to the religions of the world. All the religions, without exception, like Hinduism Hinduism is the commonwealth of religions, it is. So, Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Shakteya, and then modern varieties of Ayyappa-ism and Sai Baba-ism. These are all modern varieties of Hindu Dharma, and all of them. And then the Abrahamic faiths and any other faiths that are around in the world, every one of them talk of God as the cause of the universe. Every one of them. And they are all dualists. Therefore, in Karana-Karyavada, unless you are very cautious in approaching the Karana, you have to be very cautious in taking up this Karana-Karyavada. And if you do not exercise that caution, then you are likely to make two errors, grave errors. One, you are likely to drift into duality. Your language becomes dualistic. Once the language is dualistic, then your thinking, your speech and your practices, they start reeking of dualism. That's why you see that in the world. They claim to be Vedantins, but they are no different from the established self-proclaimed dualists in their thinking, in their speech and in their operations. They are dualists. That is how it happens. That is one danger if you do not address Karana-Karyavada carefully. Then that is one defect or one problem that associated with Karana-Karyavada. The second problem could be you mix up the philosophy with religion. You fail to make a distinction between the two. Now both are mixed up, becomes like a khichdi. Some philosophy, some religion, and it is religion here, philosophy there, philosophy here, religion there. Like that it becomes a mix up, and very confusing for a discerning philosophical mind. So these are the two issues associated with Karana-Karyavada. Of course, the philosophy study begins with Karana-Karyavada. I admit it begins with it, but we always say the Karana-Karyavada at the beginning, which is introduced to the lay student or layman, is only very provisional, abhyupagamya. Even in Brahma Sutras, the Janmadhyasya Yataha, the very beginning sutra. Beginning is Athato Brahma Jijnasa, then comes Janmadhyasya Yataha. That is considered an Abhyupagama. That is not a final thing, final word on Brahman. It is only provisionally said like that, because the sutra talks of cause-effect relation. Therefore, you begin with Karana-Karyavada, and very soon, before you become a victim of these problems associated with Karana-Karyavada, you have to graduate and move forward into Drig Drishya Viveka. Then you are safe. Safe from what? Safe from the blemish of duality and safe from the unfortunate mix-up between religion and philosophy. So this shows the importance of Drig Drishya Viveka. How important it is, that is the way it can be put. You see, this particular text, Drig Drishya Viveka, and of course the method employed here, namely the discrimination between the seer and the seen, the discernment between the two, it has a primary purpose. The chief purpose is the oneness of the Jiva and Brahman. That is the chief purpose of this text or this method of study. This not so much a method, this investigation, I would say like that. This inquiry or investigation has the chief purpose. A few other things will come into it, but the chief purpose is the oneness of Jiva and Brahman. And that is accomplished by following a particular line of argument. The line of argument is also obvious: discernment between the knowing element within you and all that is known. That is the line of argument. Following that line of argument, you keep these things in your mind. The line of argument here is the discernment between the knowing element in you, that is the awareness which I was introducing, and versus or and all that is known. That discernment or discrimination, you can say that. Only thing is, when I say discrimination, you should not make it racial discrimination and all that, okay? Not that. This is Vedantic, That's why I added an extra word, discernment. Now you probably cannot make mistake there. So, that is the beauty of this text. So what do you mean by the oneness of Jiva and Brahman? That you should not make it into a concept. This conceptual knowledge has no value. You look at this, you means not you generally, a style of speaking. So you look at Jiva. Jiva is this, Brahma is that. Now they are one. Now what kind of study it is? Jiva is you. Okay? And then, no, I am a father of 2 children. That you are not. You are not. You are the Jiva. Look at yourself correctly. At least in a Vedanta class. So, you are not any of the things that you imagine about yourself. You are not any of those things. And Abhyupagama, provisionally, we give you a title. You hold on to the title. You are the Jiva. Okay? And then Brahman. Brahman is the reality. Or to put it in more practical terms, there is a divinity within you. Only you do not allow it to come out. It is trying to come out and you suppress it. So, when the divinity within you is trying to come out, you say, I am a very unhappy person. So the divinity goes down. Okay? The divinity tries to come out. You want to serve the other person. You want to love the other person. That is the divinity coming out. But suddenly you have a complaint against the other person. So you cannot, how can you love that person? Therefore the divinity is gone down. Therefore, there is a divinity within you and not different from you. And it is trying to manifest all the time. and you do not allow that. And now you have to remove the obstacles for the manifestation of that innate divinity. Another name for that is love. So now, am I not speaking the language of practicality? Don't you see the language? See the difference? Suppose I say, Jiva and Brahma are one and Jiva Brahmanoha Aikyam. So now you listen to it with a happy face because there is nothing for you to do about it. There Jiva and Brahma are standing separate and they merge there. You stay where you are. This is called conceptual knowledge. And the world is full of this. Okay? Therefore, that is the way you have to understand. Here, the Drig Drishya Viveka, if you give it a chance, it will force you into, it will oblige you into your own divinity. That is the glory of this text. Anyway, to put in a nutshell, the text can be described as Tvam Padartha Shodhanam. So, you make an investigation into the meaning of Tvam, which translates on your side as I. You see, I, we give a name to it. It is the primordial element in your life. Primordial. It is like Big Bang. In Big Bang theory, there is there was one dense ball of energy, of infinite energy, a ball, what they call Wilem. It was the primordial Wilem, and that exploded with a big bang. Lo behold, you have the universe before you. Right? That is the Big Bang theory. A similar thing. So that primordial element in you is I. That is the meaning of the word Tvam. Tvam translates on your side as I, Aham, I. That I you have to understand. You have to purify it. Shodhanam, purification. Why to purify? Because you have allowed so much of dross to collect around it. It is like a magnet which has attracted all kinds of iron pieces and dust upon it. And now you look at it, it doesn't look like even a magnet. A magnet has some U-shaped magnet, suppose. It doesn't even look like U. It looks like a bundle of black particles and iron filings. That is how it looks like. It has lost its shape, its appearance it has lost, and its character also it has lost because of all these iron filings which have accumulated around the magnet. Do you get the idea? So you have allowed that I to become such a bad samsari, and so any effort to purify it, it becomes a big task. So you don't allow it to be purified. Suppose I say, so one grandmother complained to me, "Hey Swami, what are you talking? I have seen so many Swamis, but I have not seen a Swami like you talking that this grandson is an illusion, son is, you are not the father." This kind of language I have cannot come across any Swami talking. You are the only Swami like that. She complained to me. I did namaskar to her because she is an elderly lady with a good meaning thing. And then I tell her, this is only the first day, you wait for another 4 or 5 days. You believe me, after 4 or 5 days, Amma told me, "Swamiji, now I am trying getting what you are talking about, I get a feel of it now." So much of dross you allow around that I. And Drig Drishya Viveka offers an opportunity, a golden opportunity to purify that I, to just get rid of all this accumulated dross. And how you do it? Do it with vichara. Viveka, vichara it is. It is not an effort. It is not a karma. It is not even upasana. People are accustomed to karma and upasana. They readily come to it. Suppose you ask them to do a ritual, they readily go for it. Because it is easy. Ritual is easy. Upasana is a bit more difficult. Thinking, investigating, inquiring, and knowing the false as the false is the toughest thing. And therefore people keep aside the difficult ones and go for the easy ones. I ask you, you tell me which is easy and which is difficult. To construct a magnificent temple of Sri Krishna in marble and all that, or to read and understand one verse of Gita, which is difficult and which is easy, you tell me? It is obvious, A multi-billion-dollar temple you can put up for Sri Krishna. Very easy thing. Just take a decision and give some authority of religious head to that and ask for appeal for funds, and so things start happening, and it's only a matter of time before a magnificent temple stands there. But take one verse of Gita and understand it only that much. What is that Sri Krishna is trying to convey? And you get it to your heart. Yah pashyati sapashyati. That way you see it as if something in your palm. That takes a lifetime of effort. Not effort, investigation, inquiry, maturity, whatever name you give to it. Therefore people go for the easy one and they avoid the real one. Therefore you have to investigate. Viveka, vichara you have to do. Generally, people do not investigate. They do not investigate. If only they investigate, if only they inquire, and if only they look within, search within, it starts like a wave and it becomes an ocean. You can realize that you are the cause of the world in which you are living. That is a very big realization. I am the cause. Now what you say, I am living in a world which is created by a God, whatever be the name given to the God. Therefore, you do not have any kind of responsibility for the things happening in the world. And so you suffer under the burden of this world. And you always expect something from the world and get something else. Because the God above wishes otherwise. And therefore you are a victim of the world. And the world makes you cry. Occasionally laugh also, but mostly cry. This is how we live. But suppose you investigate, look within, search within, and come to realize just a bit of it, that the world in which I am living is after all created by myself. In part or wholly, whatever way, at least in part, it is created by myself. Suppose you get that idea, you get that understanding, not idea. Oh, I am creating this world. Not only I am creating a little pleasure for myself, but I am creating a lot of misery for myself. If you understand that, then immediately you will stop creating misery for yourself. You become free. It is called moksha. Big thing, you starts with a wave and becomes an ocean. Therefore, you have to investigate. You have to investigate and inquire. What people do is, I remember the illustration of a chick inside a shell, that egg, the chick inside, enveloped by a hard shell. The chick sits inside and speculates. What would be outside? Akasha. Asamantat kashate iti akashaha. Therefore it must be, it has no beginning and it has no end. It speculates about Akasha. Okay? Akasha is another name for Brahma also. Just like we all students of Vedanta sit together and speculate about Brahma. Brahma Jagat Karanam. Janmajyasya yataha. This is called a transcendental speculation. Okay, you do that. How many, you can do it for a day, for a week, for a month you can do it. For a whole life you cannot do it. The chick is advised, stop all this speculation and start pecking at the shell. That is all you have to do. So we have to stop this speculative study of Vedanta or transcendental speculation. You have to stop it. Suppose you say, Brahman is not only the efficient cause but also the material cause. Very good. Very good. What very good? What did you get out? What did you understand? What very good? Do you know that statement, if you pursue it, it will land you where this entire Jagat becomes a passing show. You don't allow that to happen. Just you are satisfied with some verbal statements and you feel great that Brahman is not only the material efficient cause but also the material cause. Okay? That is all. That is not all. You show me in this world one thing you show me which is both efficient as well as material cause. One thing you show me. I will show you Brahman. Therefore, you have to investigate it. Shall I tell you that one thing? You. Therefore, just speculation and holding on to a few concepts and a little terminology, that is not Vedanta. So you have to take it to its logical end. Therefore, don't be like that chick which speculate about the space around. So, because such a speculation is of no use to that chick. It remains bound within the shell. But if it pecks the shell a little, go on pecking a little, then the shell will break from within. The shell, not from outside. People, so when I say this, they misinterpret it. The Guru will break the shell. No, he won't. You have to break it from within. Guru from outside cannot break it. You will give okay, leave it. Anyway, so you want the Guru to break the shell. You have handed over the job of breaking the shell of samsara to the Guru and you continue happily in the samsara. And if there is some unhappiness in the samsara, run to the Guru. How Guru will solve it? Your problems, how Guru can solve? Had he believed, I told you, he would not have become a Guru if he can solve all these problems. Anyway, so therefore you have to break the shell from within, and you do it, the shell will break and the chick becomes liberated. So similarly, you break the shell of the mind, the shell of false notions, the shell of wrong ideas that you have accumulated around yourself from within by investigation. So you expose to yourself the contradictions that you have created around yourself. You want peace, but you go for fight. What can be a worse contradiction than that? You want peace at home or not? Yes, I want peace. I want a peaceful family life. Then why do you fight with your spouse? Don't do it. That is the end of the conflict, and there will be only peace. And you want health and eat wrongly. There cannot be any worse contradiction than that. We are all victims of wrong eating. We are all. And we have created systems that make right eating impossible. So you are forced to eat wrong. To such an extent, we have forgotten what is right eating. We have forgotten. And therefore, fortunately, pills are available. Fortunately, I call it Pill Yuga, not Kali Yuga. Pill Yuga. Pills are available, fortunately. Suppose I get some stomach upset, domperidone is available, thank God. I tell you, without domperidone, I don't know what I will do, I tell you. It is available. Just one example I gave. And then heartburn, thank God, God has blessed us with omeprazole. Every day morning, get up, pratasmarami, omeprazole, and take it, you are safe for 24 hours. I am telling my own experience to you. In India, domperidone is given the wonderful name. I love that person who named it. It is called Happy D. What will we do without domperidone? All these are made in Hyderabad. We make in Jidimatla we make it. All these things make in bulk and take elsewhere and print it into capsules and bring to America and sell. Made in India. Very big thing. Hyderabad is the pharmaceutical capital of the world. And we are very proud about it. Anyway, that is a digression. So, I wonder what would I do without domperidone? I cannot imagine life without domperidone. But for some, what can we do? How can we live on this planet without Prozac? Problems. So, therefore, you have to expose the contradictions that you have created in yourself. And I will go one step further. We have to expose the absurdities which have accumulated in our within. The absurd. How can it be? It cannot be. It is an absurd thing. When I see that, I am flabbergasted. How people live with such absurdities. So you have to expose all of it by investigation. And it is easy, at the same time it is difficult. Sri Krishna said, Susukham kartum avyayam, 9th chapter. Very easy to do it because you only have to call the bluff of the falsehood. The false has no chance to stand before the truth. You prop up the false. What can anybody do? You stop propping up the false, the truth comes into its own. You don't bring the truth you don't invite the truth, you don't pull it into the field. It comes into its own. What all you have to do is stop propping up the false. So this is how the vichara moves forward. Viveka vichara. Viveka is discrimination. So, you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. Now I am saying, I am done with vichara. I am following in a methodical way. So, vichara, and Drig Drishya Viveka vichara it is. But simply called Drig Drishya Viveka. What is Viveka? Discrimination or discernment. So, you have to know yourself. To know yourself, you do not look at yourself. Suppose you look at yourself, that will be non-self, right? Because whatever you look at will be non-self. It becomes a drishya. People say, these are superstitions, People say, God appeared to me. And you stop him there. Let him not explain any further. I do that. Because enough. No, let me say fully. There is nothing to say fully. What appeared to you cannot be God. Now what is there to say? Okay? No, early morning in the dream appeared. It is not God. Why it appeared then? Because your mind wants it, therefore it appears. Your mind is the field, or your mind is the stage, and your mind is the actor. Those who want to see UFOs end up seeing UFOs. So you thought of God in a particular way, and therefore God appeared before you. That is the God created by your own mind. In fact, that is the God which is mind itself becomes the God. Mind itself becomes the God. Mind itself becomes the dream world. Mind itself becomes the dream person. And so the dream person, which is the mind, sees the dream God, which is the mind. So it is the game. Therefore, you have to, what you see or what you know cannot be the truth, cannot be the self or Atman. Nedam yedidam upasate. Anyway, so to know the truth of the self, you do not look at the truth. What you look at cannot be the truth, you know. The looking element is the truth. Therefore, what you have to do is, it is a negative method you have to employ, not a positive method. Here, you see, in karma, which is a sadhana, they call sadhana. So, when sadhana is karma, you have to be outgoing, because the karma is a movement, it is outside, and the objects which you employ in the ritual are outside, the priest is outside, and you must be outgoing, you must be looking outside. That is how the karma sadhana works. Even upasana is similar. You go outside. So God is outside of you, other than you. Even when you close and contemplate upon God an image, the image is the other, outside of you. The other means outside only. Then bhakti in the form of pilgrimage, etc., it is all outgoing. All these sadhanas are outgoing sadhanas. People practice outgoing sadhanas, but Vedanta is not an outgoing sadhana. It is an inward-looking sadhana, it is. Fundamental difference. It is a diametrically opposite thing, it is. That's why you cannot make a combination of the two. The samuchaya is not possible. How are you going to do samuchaya of karma with jnanam? Karma is outward looking, jnanam is inward looking. How can you combine the two? You cannot. I give this example. You have Northwest Airlines. You used to have Northwest Airlines. Now I think Southwest Airlines is going on. But you can never have North-South Airlines. Okay, don't you know that? Really. There is no such it is an oxymoron. It just doesn't exist. East-West Airlines, North-South Airlines, they don't exist. So, similarly, karma jnana samuchayam is of that nature. Karma is outgoing and jnana is inward looking. And therefore, Vedanta and also yoga. Yoga is also inward looking. Just I am giving you an idea. Yoga is not outward going. Yoga people don't go for pilgrimage. They go and do yoga nidra. Something like that. It is all inward looking. Yoga and Vedanta. All others are outgoing. Therefore, you have to look within. That is the nature of sadhana here. That is the viveka. And here what you do is, you posit the self, you oppose the self with the non-self. So take up the non-self and examine, is it the self? So, therefore, you face the self with the non-self. Self is you. Self is you. You face yourself with the non-self. So, start with something and ask the question, is this the self? So, then you investigate. Then understand, no, that is not the self. This is how you move within. This is how you take steps towards the real self. Every single time you dismiss one non-self, so one layer of ignorance is gone. Sri Ramakrishna has compared this effort, this investigation, I call it effort, don't mistake it with karma. This investigation, he compared it with peeling of an onion. Onion is made up of multiple layers. You peel a layer and you go inside the onion. Peel one more layer, you go further deeper into the onion. Finally, you peel the last layer. What will be left? Nothing will be left. Not nothing will be left, right? Space will be left. Brahman will be left. Okay? Not nothing. There is no nothing. That is the example given. So when you face the self, that is yourself, with the non-self, and recognize the non-self as the non-self, it is non-self. By mistake I took it to be myself. Wrong. How can it be myself? This blessed thing is the non-self. And you see it that seeing, you see it that way. Then you are free from the burden of the non-self. You become liberated. Once you recognize the non-self as the non-self, once you see the false as the false, there is immediate. It is not a mediate thing. We make everything mediate. Do karma today, phala will come next life. And in the heaven. Desha different, kala different. You do this today. No, study Vedanta. So you study Vedanta in the youth, you will realize Brahman in this old age. You will not realize anything like that. It is not a time-bound process. No one here, either you know it, no one here, or you don't know it. I always ask a question to the students. Even while asking, I am not sure whether they get it. But still I ask, can there be understanding in the future? That is the question I ask. People have conveniently put understanding into the future and they are relaxing. Yeah, it will happen in the future. Nothing will happen in the future. Only one thing happens in the future. Shall I tell you what is it? Death. Understanding happens only in the present. You try, you look at your own experience. Did you have understood so many things, and when the understanding happens, in the present it happens, okay? Invariably, understanding happens in the present. Therefore, you have to face the self with the non-self and examine and realize that the blessed thing is the non-self. Means you recognize the false as the false. Immediately, you experience a deep sense of freedom and liberation. Immediate. It is not mediate. It is immediate. That sense of liberation. You see it and become free. And that is where we give a rope serpent example. You see that it is not a serpent. Immediately, all your fever is gone. The sweat may be still there. When you thought it is serpent, there was some sweat. It may still linger. The sweat will linger until you wash your face. But the fear is already gone. Therefore, this is how the process of Viveka continues. Anyway, I am just giving only introduction to the text. I will be talking a lot more about this Viveka in the coming few classes. So now let us look at the verse. I don't want to complete the class without taking up the verse even a little. There are 5 verses, but it is only one verse. You take it from me. The 4 verses are explanation of the first verse. That's why I gave 5. Not 4, not 6. Okay? So by the time you finish the first verse, in the same breath, we will be going through the other verses. For example, the first line, Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik, that is explained in the second verse. That first line is explained in the second verse. The second line is explained in the third verse. Like that it goes. By the time you study the first verse, you will have studied all the 5 verses. That is the structure of these 5 verses. So enough for one session of study. So let us say, Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik. So let us stop there. Okay? So, and examine that sentence. The next one will come later. There are 4 sentences, you know. So, you see, Drishyam is the seen. And eyes, Lochanam, the eye. It is eyesight really. You don't worry about two eyes. Two eyes together do one function, right? It's not that one eye performs one function and the other eye performs another function. No. The two eyes together do only one function, and that is the seeing. Therefore, it's a faculty, it's an endowment, a power of seeing, and we call it lochanam. Lochanam word, if you break it, you will know it is not much different from English. So English and Sanskrit, if you go to the root, they combine, because they originated from the same source, called Indo-European language. Okay, I'm not saying that Sanskrit has originated from English. Okay, don't start that way. I'm not saying that. Both Sanskrit and English have originated from the same language. This is linguistics, okay? So anyway, so lochanam, look at lochanam, that ana is a suffix, ana. Gamana, bhojana, no, ana is there, you know, bhojana. So pana, in pana also, pana is drink, there is ana. So gamanam, karanam, doing, ana, everywhere you will have ana. That ana is the suffix. So take out that ana. Now what are you left with? Loch. That O called guna, it came because of ana. When you take out the ana, the guna also you should take out and go back to its original. That is u. U becomes O. So now ana you take out, therefore O you should replace with u. Therefore you are left with luch. In Sanskrit, cha and ka are interchangeable. There are two sutras. Kuhosh chuhu, ka becomes cha. Choh kuhu, cha becomes ka. A little grammar. There may be one or two students here who know a little flavor of grammar. That's why I mentioned it. Choh kuhu, cha replaced by ka. Do that, what will you get now? Look. That is what it is. These are very well established rules of grammar, in Sanskrit grammar. So lochanam becomes look. Okay? Knowledge is jnanam. Knowledge, you know? You know? That is jnanam. Prognosis is prajna. Like that. So lochanam is the act of looking. The one which looks, not the act, the one which looks. Therefore, there are two categories, always two categories, drishyam and drik. And in a given context, drishyam is rupam, the form. The form. Okay? Not the truth. Already you should get a hint. The form is not the truth. Therefore, you should prepare your consciousness in which you do not pay attention to the form. Form is unimportant because it is not real. It is not real. Therefore, the more you pay attention to the form, the more you have emotional investment, the emotion you invest into the form, the more trouble you are creating for yourself. Because it is always the false which binds, never the truth. Truth will never bind. Truth liberates. It is the false which binds. I see it, and I exhort also. When people go on getting attached more and more to the forms, so they will pay a better price for that. See, we had a telephone. A camera in a telephone, it is a very undesirable development. Because all the photo studios have closed. They have to look for some other profession. Now a photographer is not a profession anymore. So all of them, even Kodak company has closed down. What to speak of some simple photographer. Therefore, photographer is out. Because everybody is a photographer. Even the kids have become photographers, and they have the camera ready, and they go on clicking and getting pictures, and immediate. When Kodak brought out a contraption where you click and pull out the picture and wait till it'll do like this and you see the picture. We were stunned, oh my God, this is something. Okay, so now everybody is a photographer and they go on clicking. And while clicking they say, this is the most important photo that I am having. Swamiji, with you I am having a photo. It is most important. No, it is not important. No, it is most important. I know you will delete it within 3 days. Who doesn't know the game of this digitalization? You will delete it. Because how many photos you can keep? Already this is the 150th photograph for the day. So, this kind of obsession with forms will hurt you. I say, come out of it. Because rupam, drishyam, it is not real. Lochanam drig. So I ask you, how many forms you have seen with your eyes, with your pair of eyes, till now in your life? How many forms you have seen? Just ask this question to yourself. How many forms I have? It is a meditation. The class itself is a meditation. So if I ask myself how many forms I have seen with this pair of eyes, the glasses changes once in 3-4 years, but the faculty of seeing is there, lochanam, and so it goes on seeing forms. What happened to all those forms? How many forms? Millions of them. If I exercise my memory, generally I keep it away, because memory doesn't serve you well. So it brings all kinds of problems to you. Therefore you keep it away. Don't go on engaging with memory all the time. That makes you think a lot. Therefore keep it out. But suppose I exercise my memory for the sake of understanding, and just imagine when I started seeing the forms, not by birth, so at the age of maybe 5 or 6 or 7, I started registering the forms. Not just seeing, registering the forms. How many? Millions and millions of forms were registered, gone. Registered, gone. And still we are doing the same thing. And what did you learn from that experience? We have not learned anything from that experience. Because we are still registering forms, and we assume that forms are real, and we give all kinds of forms to God also. And forms are of many kinds. Not only the physical forms are forms, but also the mental forms are there. Caste, Brahmana, Kshatriya, they are mental forms. Okay? And then similarly many other forms. All ideas come under the category of mental forms. You say nation or a country, it is a mental form. Right? In our childhood, when we were studying social studies, the longitude and the latitude the teacher was explaining, for a moment I thought somebody has drawn those lines. They must be there, because the globe he brought and showed us, and all the lines are there. Oh, they must have drawn all these lines. Nobody draws those lines. Those lines are not there. Arctic Circle, do you have a line there going like that? There is no line. It is in your head. It is a mental form. Arctic Circle is a mental form. Longitude, latitude, all Google location, those figures, it is all a mental form. The boundaries between the countries are mental forms. The territorial boundaries, caste, creed, race, culture. A culture, you talk of culture, it is a mental form. Don't make it into a god, a special god. Indian culture, American culture, European culture. Don't make it into a god. It is a mental form. And Atma is not culture. Atma is beyond all these cultures. Don't convert yourself into an ideologue unnecessarily based on this culture and that culture. My garden is more beautiful than your garden. Get out of that mode. All gardens are equally beautiful. In fact, you have nothing to do with any garden. You have only got to do only with one thing, and that is self-realization. Therefore, rupam drishyam. All these forms are known to you. They are known to you. That is a big statement. Rupam drishyam. Are known to you means they are not you. Why do you make a you out of them? A form is binomial theorem known to me. I am the binomial theorem. Will you say like that? No. It is a mental form, and you are not that mental form, because the blessed thing is known to you. Okay? Date of birth. Do you know your date of birth? You have to know, otherwise you will have a serious problem with CVS. So I know my date of birth. So I am the date. You are not the date of birth. You are who knows the date of birth. Okay? You need not tell this to CVS person. There you behave as if you are the date of birth and get the medicine. But you should not believe it. Okay? You should not believe. CVS person asked not because the date of birth is a reality. He asked because that is the protocol which he has to follow. So don't be convinced by that. Okay? So rupam, anyway you got the spirit of what I am trying to say. Rupam drishyam lochanam drik. This is a big thing. This vichara is a big thing. It starts like a wave and grows into an ocean. This Trivikrama, the Vamana becomes Trivikrama. Bindu becomes Sindhu. We'll come back. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnasya